Hey everybody, it's Chris over at Moka Coffee. I just want to introduce you today to a classic way to brew coffee at home. In fact, probably thousands, millions of homes have this device in there. It's called a Moka Pot. M-O-K-A pot, Moka Pot. And some people call it like stovetop espresso, but it's really just a brewing device. I don't think it necessarily delivers what we would call espresso. But it's a great little device for brewing coffee at home. And I'm just going to brew a little bit here, and I want to show you how to do that, and also how to take care of this device and clean it so that you continue to get good tasting coffee every time you use it. Alright, so let's take a look. Alright everybody, hey, first let me just introduce you to the different parts of this device. So the Moka Pot screws together and basically comes in two big pieces. Your top chamber, where the coffee is going to boil up and end up here, and then you'll just pour it out. Here's where your coffee goes. So we're going to just take coffee that's ground, kind of regular grind for drip coffee, and put in here. We'll show that in just a second. And this is basically your water chamber, where you're going to put actually hot water. We'll talk about that in just a second. So you got that, and then this part of the device, here's a filter and then a gasket. And this is very important. After you use this device, you need to take this apart every time, under it, lift it up and out. Like that. So that gasket, you're going to clean that off really good, just with a sponge or a washcloth. And this little filter pops out, and you're going to clean this area really good, rinse it to get all the oils and everything out. That's what sometimes happens to these. People don't clean them, and then you get rancid coffee oils that build up, and you get a lot of bitter, kind of gross flavors in your coffee. When you put this back together, be sure to put it the right way. So the wider rim, the flange part, basically goes down in first. So don't put it like that. See the gap there? You're going to put it like that. Put your gasket back in there. So that's how you take the Moka Pot apart and clean it after you're done. And that just shows you kind of all the moving parts there. Okay, well let's get going. We're going to basically grind the right amount of coffee that we want. I, of course, always prefer to measure out my coffee with a gram scale. I'm basically going to try to brew, this holds at most, so as you can see, this will hold about 10 ounces of water or coffee after we brew. And they make different sizes of these, so you could have one smaller to just make a little 6-ounce or 4-ounce cup. Or you could have a larger one, whatever you want. I've seen all kinds of sizes of those. All right, so let's just say we're gonna go for an 8-ounce cup of coffee. That tells me I want 16 grams, because that's my little cheat formula. It's just to decide how much coffee I want to drink. 8 ounces, multiply that by 2, 16, that's grams, 16 grams of coffee. There we go. Oh. Of course, you want to get some good fresh roasted coffee and grind it right before you brew. I recommend Moka coffee, of course. All right, so we've got the right amount of coffee here. All right, so we've got our coffee ground ready to go. Now, here's actually something I didn't know until just recently. When you go to put the coffee in here, you don't want to tamp it or pack it or anything like that. Some people recommend go ahead and filling it up every time. I'm going to play around with this amount and see how that works. I'm going to set that right here for a second. Here's what I didn't know. You don't want to start with cold water in this. You want to actually go ahead and put hot water. So I've got a kettle over here, and I've already heated my water to about 205 degrees. So I'm going to just fill it up with this water. And there is a fill line in here. It's basically right where this pressure valve is. Right about here. So you don't want to fill it up any higher than that. Now at this point, this gets really hot, so just be careful that you don't burn yourself. I'm going to use a little towel here to hold it. Now we're going to put the coffee in here. Make sure our gasket and everything is back on tight. Screw this together. So I'm going to screw this top piece back on pretty good, pretty snug. Just hand tight. Now I've got my burner going here, and we're going to let this heat up, see what happens. I can hear it coming now. Here's some steam coming up through the coffee. There we go. Now I'm lifting up the mocha pot so we don't get too much heat at once. I'll lift it up and slow it down just a little bit. I'm just putting a little space between the burner and the mocha pot. Okay. Again, not ideal electric stove for this brewing device, but you can make it work. And then the other thing I learned is that as soon as you're done brewing, you want to use like a cold, wet towel, or you can even put this in the sink and just run some cold water over the base of it. You basically just want to cool that down so that you don't continue to extract the coffee and have the water bubbling up. We're ready to enjoy. All right, well, thanks for joining me today for this little mocha pot demonstration. Now, of course, I'm going to clean this thoroughly, as I told you before. Take those pieces apart. Make sure to get all the coffee oils, all the coffee grounds, everything out of it, so it doesn't kind of taint the brewing device for the next cup. Still pretty hot, but let's see. The Ethiopia. It's pretty good. I can tell I overcooked it a little bit. The water boiled and we over extracted just a little bit, but that's pretty good. If you can control the heat a little bit better with the flame, you'll probably have better results with that than even I did. All right, so hey, get a mocha pot, play around with it, enjoy. We'll see you next time.